I really can't decide on this one, and I'm going to get flack for this, but I can't decide between Rogue One or Solo.
Yeah.
And Rogue One's obviously a great movie, fantastic movie. Like, I have zero issues with that movie. I have some issues with Solo, but there's just some things that redeem, and I just want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rogue One, it ties everything up in a nice, neat little bow, and then it moves on to A New Hope. It's a perfect transition, and that's really
Yeah.
freaking hard to do, making a movie 40 years, 50 years after the original, right? Didn't this come out in like 2015,
Yeah,
2016?
that's definitely not 50 years, but
Yeah, you get the point. You get
yeah,
the point. I can't do math.
I know.
Um, but Solo, like, Han Solo is just always going to be one of my favorite characters. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, they included Woody Harrelson, one of my favorite actors. And like the Maul bit at the end, like I want to know more. I want more
Yeah.
live action Maul.
Exactly. And the thing
And,
is,
and like that's the thing. Like I said earlier, when I was a kid watching these for the first, second, third time, I'm like, what the hell is the Kessel Run? It gives me that.
mhm,
Finally, like it scratched that itch. And like so
yeah,
many people gave this movie crap, and I can completely understand why. The main freaking character, for God's sake, that played Solo had to take acting lessons while he was acting in the movie because he sucked at it.
yeah,
But I absolutely love this movie.
yeah. No, I definitely get that. So you're saying that's a tie for you?
For me, it's a tie. I
Okay.
mean, especially like thinking at the end when Han and Lando are playing for the Millennium Falcon. Like that's just it's perfect for me. Like I don't
Yeah.
know.
No. So I mean, like I said, I keep forgetting that we wanted to talk about all five of these movies, the Disney era movies. Um, so I will retract what I said when I said episode seven's the best, and I do have to go with probably Solo on this. And the reason why I have to go on Solo now, Rogue One has my favorite potential as far as the best, just because of the fact that they finally gave Darth Vader a scene where he's a badass. Because I kind of said it before in this video. Episode four, Vader, yeah, he was depicted as this badass and everything, but the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan in Episode four was
Garbage.
it's a product of its time. This is what they
That's
could
a way
do.
better to put it.
Yeah, they could definitely do that in the late 70s, but that's not something that would pass for action packed today and make you look like a badass.
This is
But
one of those things too where like with time things change. So like
exactly.
our definition of a badass is completely different than the 70s version of a badass,
Exactly. So that's what I'm
you know?
saying is you move forward and then you get to Empire. He does some badass things and whatever. He has the fight with excuse me. He has a fight with Luke in episode 5 and 6, which are a lot better than the one with Obi-Wan. But I
They
think
got
that
some funding for that.
yeah, but I think the thing is when it comes down to it is after like everything after episode 3, Vader did have some fallbacks, which we might do a video where we talk all about lore and whatever on basically what happened with Vader, why he obviously could not function like Anakin Skywalker did with as much flexibility and as much ease. But um, the way that they did it was just like it was so slow, and when you finally get to Rogue One, the deleted scene, which I I really wish that they'd added it in there. The one with Vader's castle, when you see him like kind of disassembled and whatnot. I feel that added a lot of depth. That would have added a lot of depth to his character. And then his final scene, when he's finally getting on to the Tantive, I think is what it's called, Leia's ship. When he goes on there, he just like cuts through. Um, he's cutting through all these rebels, and that right there is just pure badassery right there. And so, but the thing is, I would say with that being said, Rogue One would have been my top pick. However, Rogue One has a very slow beginning. You know, it's not as action packed and stuff. So for me, that's something that kind of draws. Whereas
See, I
Solo,
think part of the thing that affects that too is the lack of lightsabers.
yeah,
The lack of Jedi, the lack of Sith, you know.
but you have that lack in Solo too. But the thing is, with Solo, you start off the first scene. it's like Han's running from someone. That was the scene. I'm pretty sure. I haven't watched it in probably a couple months now.
That's the thing. Like, Rogue One opens up with a character that you don't know shit about, so you don't really give a shit. With Solo, it's Han doing Han things.
Yeah.
And, like, the thing is, too, you can't really watch Solo as a traditional Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I already told you that. Like, this is not set up as a Star Wars movie. It's set up as a regular movie that you have to watch, you know? Like, for example, Solo is based off of an already made concept, the Kessel Run. The entire movie is based off of the Kessel Run. It's based off of how he mentions that he won the Millennium Falcon from Lando. It's all of those things that are in passing that makes the original trilogy so great because it creates depth.
Yeah.
And then in Solo, they just expand upon that depth. Every other Star Wars movie might have some concepts here and there, but it's never the main concept. The main concept is never based off of a pre-existing movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which, I mean, that's why I really like the fact that they added these in. These aren't episodes. These aren't part of that main thing. These are just side stories, you know, that is more of a backstory behind what happened and stuff. But like I said, I think I have to go with Solo just because of the fact that, you know, it was more action-packed. It kept my focus a lot longer. And then plus, I mean, yeah, you get the badass scene in Rogue One with Darth Vader, but we get this Darth Maul come back, which Darth Maul, I mean, a lot of the biggest thing with Darth Maul in the Star Wars universe is that a lot of older fans cannot watch, they just won't watch the Clone Wars series. You know, they in their mind, like, I mean, my parents, I finally got my mom into like watching all the rest of the Star Wars movies this summer, and you know, she's not going to watch Clone Wars because in her mind it's a cartoon, which a lot of adults are going to have that opinion. So you have these traditional fans that will not watch that, whereas their whole idea of Maul is, well, he got cut in half and he's dead, but you finally bring him back to be the badass at the end of Solo, and you know, we want to see where it goes, and that's the whole thing. I would love to see a Solo too, you know, and
I think they need to make a Solo too,
they definitely
because
should.
I need to know what got Han so tied to the Hutts. Like, I want to know. Like, he's already got the Millennium Falcon, you know, so what did he do to incur more debt?
Yeah.
You know, like, he was never really portrayed as a gambling man or anything like that. So I'm thinking, in my opinion, Han should fuck up in some sense, and where he needs to get a lot of money really fast. Like, he messes with the wrong family or something like that, and then the Hutts help him out, and he's protected by Hutts and stuff like that.
Like what we had talked about before, I mean, it could literally be a whole thing to where his love interest there, you know, she ends up getting mixed up with Maul, and, you know, maybe Han goes off and tries to, you know, fix the situation with the Hutts, you know, and that's where they get drawn in. But there's so much opportunity and there's so much stuff that could happen that, you know, I would love to see what would play out with Solo 2. But again, as far as it goes, Solo 2 is definitely going to be my favorite. And you said that your favorite out of the Disney years is Rogue One and Solo tied.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
but,
I mean,
yeah, I think that's all for me.
yeah, and I'd love to. In the future, we'll probably get more in depth with these movies. I know it probably sounds like we're just kind of gliding over a lot of stuff and whatever, but there's a lot of stuff. I mean, hell, we've had these conversations in my truck while we were at college for hours. You know, in our dorm rooms and stuff before, you know, when we were attending the same college. So, I mean,
anytime I was driving 3 hours from the college to home or vice versa.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, we've talked about this stuff before, but we wanted to bring this channel in as a way that, like, we can just kind of talk about stuff, and I mean, people that have similar ideas or different ideas can, you know, kind of come together and, you know, just talk about it. So, but yeah, so I think that's pretty much all we're gonna do today. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, dislike it. There's a comment, tell us what you did like, and definitely subscribe and hit that bell button. So yeah, thanks
Thanks, guys.